What's up, y'all? That's a tune called Tuamgraney Castle. Probably not pronouncing that right. And it's a great hornpipe, and it's one I've been playing with sort of a funky take on a theme show, television theme show. Been playing that with the band lately. It's kind of fun. Hopefully we'll put a video out on it one of these days. But we put that hornpipe in the middle of it, and it's a great tune, and I don't have a whole lot of hornpipes on this channel, so I figured I probably ought to. Before we do that, I want to talk about whistle tabs for a second. Folks have been asking me about whistle tabs basically since I started this channel about a decade ago, and I've always said the same thing. I'm a fan of learning by ear. There's no need to do a deep dive on that. I've talked about that probably ad nauseum, but just suffice it to say that I'll always recommend that method. Also, there's no easy way to just automatically create whistle tabs. There's sheet music, which is great, but there's no way to get from sheet music to tabs just by automatically creating it. There's no app for that, which means doing it manually through Photoshop if I want to create something that I'm going to download, or just in post here. So here's where I'm going with this. I'm going to start posting all the tabs for all the videos that I post over on my Patreon. That way if you want us to have something that you can download, you'll be able to get them, and hopefully over time I'll get a pretty decent back catalog of tabs for tunes, for whistle tunes. So the link to that is posted down below. Feel free to check it out if you're so inclined. There's also a lot of behind the scenes stuff, rehearsals with the band, some kind of funny stuff, you know, whatever, that kind of crap. It's $2. Here's the A part of this tune. It is in A minor, although we've been playing it with the band in B minor, just to fit in with the song, but I guess you can play it a few different ways. It's usually in A minor, so that's how I'm going to play it here. That's the first half of the A part. I'll run that again. Second half, similar, a lot of notes, just like the first part, but then the ending is a little bit different. So it finishes on the A as opposed to dropping down to the G. Again, I'll run that one more time. Cool. That's the whole A part. One thing about hornpipes that separates them a little bit from the other tunes is that typically the melodies have a lot more notes to them. They're a bit more complicated, but they're also a bit more repetitive. That long phrase might just simply repeat a second time through without really anything new to learn. Whereas on a jig, you might have maybe 4 sections that are each different, but they're short and fairly simple. Then you'd repeat that whole phrase, but you'd have several different chunks. Whereas a hornpipe, you might have just one chunk. It's a little bit longer, a little bit more complicated, but a bit more reusable. Something to keep in mind. B part jumps all the way up high to the high A. Finishes back on that same middle G that we started with in the A part. So again, a bit repetitive. There's some repeating parts in here. Here's that same section of the A part, a little bit more up-tempo. Now, here's the nice thing. Where I mentioned that repetitive part, the final section, the second half of the B part, is a repeat of the second half of the A part. So really you only have 3 sections to learn, and 2 of those are almost identical. So again, a lot of notes in each section, but not that many of those to learn. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Let's break down some ornaments. Tune is a couple of pickup notes. You land on that A, that's your downbeat, the first measure of the bar. So when I land on that, I like to pop that note with that extra grace note. doing a few things at once. So as I go from B to A, popping the top finger, which I've demonstrated a lot. I don't know what you call that other than just popping that top finger. And as I do that, I'm also doing that crossing noise extra grace note by hitting that one below. A simple tap like that works too, or a slide. Now, hornpipes have a natural lift to them, a lot like jigs. And that's where I would use tonguing a bit more in a hornpipe than I would, say, in a reel or something like that. So until I do that slide, no ornaments at all other than tonguing. And then sliding into that A, any of those A minor tunes has kind of a cool effect, I think. Sliding to an A and then a roll. I think that's a nice effect, combining the two of them. Subtle enough, I think. Just has a nice groove accent to it. As I go from the C to the D, C natural to a D, popping that top finger on the right hand just like I did on the hand before on the A. As I go from C to D there, throw an extra nice little grace note. And all I'm doing is going from the C to the D and popping this top finger off on the bottom hand. Small effect, but I think it sounds kind of cool. So up top, hopefully keeping it simple enough, just a quick roll. Same thing coming back down to the G that I demonstrated earlier in the beginning of the A part, where you can get that extra, extra grace note. Sort of a quick tap, crossing noise. Same phrase there. Popping that A with that top finger. Another roll there. Same bonus grace note on the D, going from the C natural to the D. So again, on the top part, keeping it simple so you don't squeak those notes too badly. Just tap. Sliding into that B from A to B just to finish the phrase. Then a quick tap to end it. Jumping up high, again keeping it simple. Just taps. Taps on the high A's. If you try to do cuts on there, you do run a bit more of a risk of those notes breaking, so do that at your own risk. Again, really it's just tonguing, just to separate those notes and give it a little bit of that lift. And then that same slide that I finished the phrase with the first time through, and then finishing off the tune. Short roll to finish, if you're so inclined. That's how I like playing the tune. Hopefully you guys dig it and don't mind adding a hornpipe to your collection. Personally, I don't have a whole lot of them. I'm trying to add a few myself. So I'm glad I got the chance to do a video on this one. Let me know what y'all think. Otherwise, see y'all in the next one. Cheers, guys.